On a frosty winter morning in January 1943, amidst the shadows of World War II, a child entered the world in the unassuming town of Dagenham, Essex. No one could have foreseen that this boy, born into the hum of wartime factories and naval echoes, would grow to become one of football's most cherished architects, a man whose tactical genius, infectious charisma, and unyielding spirit would illuminate the beautiful game for generations. Terry Venables, affectionately known across the pitches and pubs of England as El Tel, was that boy. His life was a tapestry, woven with triumphs that echoed through stadiums, controversies that sparked heated debates, and a quiet dignity in his final chapter that left the world pondering the secrets of his last days. How did this football visionary meet his end? What whispers surrounded his peaceful departure? In this heartfelt exploration, we peel back the layers of Venables' extraordinary saga, from his humble beginnings to the legacy that endures long after his passing on. November 25, 2023, join us as we trace the path of a legend whose love for the game was as boundless as the English countryside he once roamed. Terry Venables' story begins in the gritty embrace of post-war Britain, a time when ration books and resilience defined daily life. Born on January 6, 1943, to Fred Venables, a stern yet devoted petty officer in the Royal Navy, and Myrtle Venables, a vibrant Welshwoman whose Rhondda Valley roots infused their home with tales of coal mines and community spirit, young Terry was an only child, raised in the modest confines of Dagenham. The family's small terraced house buzzed with the sounds of Fred's sea shanties and Myrtle's lilting Welsh songs, but it was the leather sphere, a second-hand football scavenged from local scraps, that truly captured the boy's imagination. Dagenham, with its Ford motor plants and working-class grit, was no cradle of privilege, yet it forged Venables' unshakable work ethic. As bombs fell sporadically in the early years, the family sought refuge in Wales with relatives, where Terry first felt the pull of the green fields, chasing a ball through misty valleys that would later mirror the expansive pitches of his professional dreams. By age 13, life pivoted dramatically. With his parents' marriage straining under the Navy's demands, Terry was sent to live with his grandparents, Ozzie and Millie Venables, in Romford, Essex. There, in the shadow of their bustling pub, the Royal Artillery, a haven for locals nursing pints and war stories, Terry found stability and a makeshift training ground. The pub's garden, patchy and overgrown, became his personal Wembley, where he'd dribble around upturned crates and fire shots at a makeshift goal fashioned from old barrels. "Grandpa, do you reckon I'll ever pull on the England shirt?" he'd ask Ozzie, his eyes wide with the innocence of ambition. Ozzie, a former soldier with a keen eye for potential, would ruffle the boy's hair and reply, "Lad, with that fire in your belly, the world's your pitch." Those words weren't mere comfort. They were prophecy. Under Ozzie's watchful gaze and Millie's home-cooked stews, Terry honed not just his skills, but his innate leadership, a blend of charm and command that would define him. School at Lymington Secondary Modern was a footnote. Football was his curriculum, his passion, his escape. Local scouts soon noticed the wiry midfielder's vision, his pinpoint passes, slicing through defences like a hot knife through butter. By 15, he was trialling with Chelsea, the Blues of Stamford Bridge, where his raw talent earned him a youth contract in 1958. Venables' playing career exploded like a cup final upset, a whirlwind of grit and grace that saw him grace the hallowed turf of England's elite clubs. Signing professional terms with Chelsea in 1959, at just 16, he debuted amid the swirl of swinging London, captaining the side to the 1965 League Cup triumph, the club's first major silverware. His midfield mastery was poetry in motion, elegant footwork evading tackles, visionary assists feeding strikers like Jimmy Greaves, and a tenacity that turned potential losses into heroic draws. Over 200 appearances for Chelsea, Venables collected 2 England caps in 1964, facing Scotland and Northern Ireland with the poise of a veteran. But ambition burned brighter. In 1966, he crossed London to Tottenham Hotspur, the white-hot rivals, where he linked up with old Dagenham pal Jimmy Greaves. At White Hart Lane, under Bill Nicholson's dynasty, Venables added flair to Spurs' already storied midfield, contributing to the 1967 FA Cup win and etching his name into North London lore. Moves followed. to Queen's Park Rangers in 1969, where he skippered them to promotion in 1971, injecting creativity into a side punching above its weight, and finally to Crystal Palace in 1974, where arthritis in his ankles forced retirement at 31. Yet even in those final kicks, Venables' legacy as a player shimmered. Over 500 senior appearances, a reputation as the king of the midfield, and a blueprint for the total footballer. Think brains of Beckenbauer, heart of Moore. It was in management, however, that Terry Venables ascended to immortality, transforming from pitch general to tactical sorcerer, breathing life into clubs teetering on despair. His first foray came at Crystal Palace in 1976, where he inherited a second-division side adrift in mediocrity. With a blend of youth academy gems and shrewd signings, Venables orchestrated promotion to the First Division in 1979, captaining from the dugout in a swan song that had Selhurst Park roaring. The Eagles soared briefly in the top flight, their attacking verve a testament to his philosophy. Football's about joy, not just results. From Palace, he crossed London to Queen's Park Rangers in 1980, infusing Loftus Road with flair. The 1982 FA Cup final run, a charged end-to-end thriller against Tottenham that ended in a replay loss, cemented his reputation as a manager who turned underdogs into dreamers. QPR clinched another second division title in 1983, but Venables' gaze turned continental, lured by the siren call of FC Barcelona in 1984. Barcelona, the pinnacle, the romance, the resurrection. The Camp Nou faithful were weary, starved of silverware after a barren spell under Helenio Herrera's successors. Venables arrived as El Tel, a moniker born from his phonetic Spanish surname, and ignited a revolution, revamping the squad with English steel. Signing Gary Lineker from Everton in 1986, he deployed a classic 4-4-2, robust defenders like Julio Alberto, anchoring a midfield dynamo of Bernd Schuster and Steve Archibald, feeding opportunistic forwards with disciplined flair. The result? La Liga glory in 1985, Barcelona's first in 11 years, a title clinched with panache and precision. The 1986 European Cup final in Seville was heartbreak incarnate, a 2-0 aggregate loss to Steaua Bucharest on penalties, but Venables responded with grace, his post-match embrace of Schuster, a symbol of unbreakable bonds. "Defeat's just a detour," he'd say, eyes twinkling with that trademark wit. In 3 years, he restored luster to the Blaugrana, earning adoration from fans who still chant his name. Departing in 1987 amid boardroom politics, Venables left a club reborn, his tactical acumen, mixing English grit with Catalan creativity, paving the way for the Dream Team era. Back in England, the 1990s unfolded as a roller coaster of highs and heartaches. Appointed Tottenham manager in 1987, Venables rebuilt Spurs into FA Cup winners in 1991, masterminding a Wembley masterclass against Nottingham Forest with Lineker's predatory goals. Yet clouds gathered. A bitter split from Chairman Alan Sugar in 1993 over business dealings, allegations of financial impropriety that Venables vehemently denied, forced his exit amid tabloid frenzy. Undeterred, he pivoted to the England job in 1994, inheriting a side fractured by Graham Taylor's disappointments. Venables' reign was electric, a breath of fresh air laced with audacity. He fostered a mates culture, training camps with barbecues, open-door tactics sessions, unleashing a fluid 3-5-2 that dazzled. Euro 96 on home soil became his symphony. Paul Gascoigne's audacious goal against Scotland ignited national fever. The penalty shootout loss to Germany at Wembley, with Gareth Southgate's miss etched eternal agony and ecstasy. England reached the semi, football's coming home ringing out, Beckham's inclusion a prescient nod to future icons. "Terry believed in me when doubt was my shadow," Beckham later reflected. Sacked in 1996 over contract disputes, Venables' England tenure, win percentage over 60%, remains a benchmark for liberation. The twilight years were a mosaic of reinvention. He managed Australia from 1996 to 98, instilling discipline down under, returned to Palace in 1998, staving off relegation, and helmed Middlesbrough 1999 and Leeds United 2002, navigating financial storms with characteristic verve. 2006 stint as Steve McLaren's England assistant ended in Euro 2008 qualification heartbreak, but Venables' passion never waned. Post-management, he dabbled in punditry, his ITV stints sharp and affable, and hotelier ventures in Spain, running a sun-kissed retreat in Penagula with wife Yvette. Retirement in 2019 allowed reflection, but whispers of illness surfaced in 2023. A long illness kept private, shielded by his stoic resolve. Venables, ever the gentleman, faced it with the same quiet dignity that defined his career. No public pity parties, just family close and football tapes rolling. November 2023 brought the unthinkable. Rumours swirled through the football grapevine. Terry was battling, his once vibrant frame waning. The world held its breath, tributes poised like pre-kick-off silences. On the 25th, peacefully in his sleep, at 80, surrounded by loved ones in their Spanish haven, Terry Venables slipped away. His family, shattered yet steadfast, released a statement. "We are totally devastated by the loss of a wonderful husband and father who passed away peacefully yesterday after a long illness. No dramatic secrets, no shrouded mysteries, just the poignant finality of a life richly lived, felled by the inexorable march of time and health's quiet thief." At probate, it emerged he'd left Yvette, his wife of 32 years, a fortune exceeding $3 million, a testament to prudent stewardship amid the glamour. The football fraternity's grief was a tidal wave, crashing with raw emotion. Gary Lineker, signed by Venables for Barcelona and Spurs, tweeted through tears, "He was a friend, a mentor, a football genius. I can't even begin to explain how much he influenced my life." Alan Shearer, Euro 96 spearhead, echoed, "Rest in peace, boss. You were amazing. I'll always cherish the moments we shared." David Beckham, whose career Venables ignited, remembered, "He was more than a manager, he was a mentor, a friend. His belief gave me the confidence to fulfill my potential." At Tottenham's clash with Aston Villa that weekend, a deafening minute's applause thundered through the stadium, fans chanting "El Tel" in unison, a roar that drowned out the chill November air. Barcelona, where his shadow looms largest, mourned deeply. "He changed the course of our club." Ange Postecoglou, Spurs' current helm, captured the essence. If ever a person embodied this club, it was Terry, a visionary who saw the game in ways others couldn't. Gary Neville hailed him as the most technically gifted British coach we've ever produced, while Gareth Southgate, whose Euro 96 penalty haunts, added, "He made people feel special." Yvette Venables, his anchor through 3 decades, spoke of a man beyond the touchlines. "He wasn't just a football legend, he was our rock, our guiding light." Their small private funeral in Spain was intimate, walls adorned with snapshots. Terry hoisting the FA Cup, laughing with Lineker at the Camp Nou, cradling grandchildren on sun-drenched beaches. As tears traced Yvette's cheeks over a photo of him in his Chelsea prime, she whispered, "Thank you for everything, Tel. You gave us a life full of love and passion." Their children shared tender vignettes, bedtime stories laced with match tactics, school runs squeezed between training sessions, a father who prioritized family amid the frenzy. "He was our hero," one son reflected, not for the trophies but for the kindness that shone brighter than any floodlight. Venables' final days held no cloak and dagger intrigue, no unsolved riddles, merely the profound solitude of a private battle, endured with the grace that graced his every sideline decision. He slipped away as he lived, on his terms, leaving no loose ends, only enduring inspiration. His will, drafted 6 years prior, ensured Yvette's security, a quiet coda to a life of bold strokes. Today, young managers dissect his 4-4-2 innovations, players emulate his man management, fans relive Gascoigne's genius or Lineker's poise. From Dagenham lad to global icon, Venables embodied perseverance's power. The boy who dreamed by pub gardens, who turned defeats into doctrines, who loved the game as fiercely as his last breath. In mourning, we celebrate. Terry Venables didn't just play or coach football. He infused it with soul, proving the beautiful game's capacity for wonder. His legacy, not etched in marble but alive in every crossfield pass, every underdog's roar, every heart he mended. Rest easy, El Tel, the pitch is dimmer without you, but your light guides us still, Like, subscribe, and share your favorite. Venables' memory below. Let's keep the conversation alive just as he would have wanted.